my rainbows, it's me, Savvy. In today's video, I'm going to do Stitch and read you the story The Trouble, which is based on a true story. The events in this story took place in 1958 in a small white house in the suburb of New York City. The names of the people involved have been changed. Monday, February 3rd. Tom and his sister Nancy had come from school. Tom was going on the 13th. Nancy was 14. They were talking to their mother in the living room when they heard a loud pop in the kitchen. It sounded like a cork had been pulled from a bottle of champagne, but it was nothing like that. The cap of the bottle somehow just came unscrewed. The bottle had tipped over and spilled. Then bottles all over the house began popping. Bottles of nail polish remover, shampoo bottles, and even a bottle of holy water. Each had a screw cap, and it took 2 or 3 turns before it fully opened. But each had opened by itself without any help. They had fallen over and spilled. What's going on here? Nobody knew, but the popping soon stopped and everything went back to normal. It was just one of those crazy things. Thursday, February 6th. Just after Tom and Nancy got home from school, 6 more bottles popped and the caps. The next day, at the same time, another 6 did. Saturday, February 9th. At 11 o'clock that morning, Tom was in the bathroom brushing his teeth. His father was standing in the doorway, talked to him. All of a sudden, a bottle of medicine began moving across the vanity by itself and fell into the sink. At the same time, the bottle of shampoo moved to the edge of the vanity and crashed to the floor and watched spellbound. "I better call the police," said Mr. Lombardo. The afternoon, the patrolman interviewed the family and the bottles popped in the bathroom. The police assigned a detective, Joseph Briggs, to the case. Thursday, February 11th. The bottle of holy water that had opened a week before opened a second time to spill. 2 days later, it spilled again. Saturday the 15th. Tom and Nancy and a relative were watching TV in the living room when a small porcelain statue rose up from the table and it flew 3 feet through the air and then fell into the rug. Monday, February 17th. A priest blessed the Lombardo's home to protect it against whatever was causing the trouble. February 20th. While Tom was doing his homework at the dining room table, a sugar bowl at the other end of the hall moved and crashed. Detective Bruce saw it happen. Later, the bottle of ink flew on the table wall and broke, splattering in all directions. February 21st. To get some peace, the Lombardos went to a relative for the weekend. While they were gone, everything at home was normal. Sunday, the 23rd of February. When the Lombardos returned, another sugar bowl took off, and it flew on the wall, and it smashed to smithereens. Later, a heavy brew in Tom's room toppled over, but no one was in the room when it happened. February 24th. By now, Detective Briggs talked to an engineer, a chemist, a psychic, and others. Some thought it was vibrations of the house causing the trouble. Could there be underground water system? High-frequency radio waves or sonic booms caused by airplanes. Others said there was an electrical system that caused drafts coming through the chimney, and popping bottles was blamed on chemicals the bottles contained. Tests showed there were no vibrations in the house, nothing was wrong with the electrical system, and there were no chemicals in the bottles that would make them pop. Then what was causing the trouble? None of our experts knew, but every day the Lombardos received dozens of letters and telephone calls from people throughout the day that they did not know. Many believed that the house was haunted. They thought it was a poltergeist was on the loose. The noisy ghost that was blamed on things when things move on their own. February 25th. A newspaper reporter came to the house and interviewed. Afterwards, they sat in the living room hoping that something would happen, and nothing happened. Wednesday, February 26th. In the morning, a small plastic statue of Virgin Mary rose up from the dresser, Mr. and Mr. Lombardo's bedroom, and it flew into the mirror. That night, when Tom was doing his homework, a 10-pound record player flew off from the table and flew 15 feet and crashed. February 28th. 2 scientists arrived from Duke University. They were parapsychologists who studied experiences like those the Lombardos were having. They spent several days talking to the family and examined the house, trying to understand what was going on, what was the cause of it. One night, the bottle of bleach popped its top, but that all happened during the visit. They did not tell the Lombardos about their theory about the poltergeist actually might be involved in such cases. According to the idea, poltergeists were not ghosts, they were normal teenagers. They had become troubled by their problems of emotions and built up a kind of vibration. Since it was taking place and they were unconscious by it, they did not even know it was happening. But the vibration somehow left their bodies and moved whatever stuck in it happened again and again until the problem was solved. Scientists again, strange power name is called psychokinesis, the ability to move objects with your mind. No one knew if this could really happen or prove it, yet reports on poltergeists did involve a family of teenagers. Monday, March 3rd. The parapsychologist said that it would prepare a report, and they learned that day that the trouble had returned with vengeance. March 4th. In the afternoon, a bowl flew off the dining room table, smashed into a cupboard, and a bottle of beans jumped off the cabinet. Wednesday, March 5th. Mr. Lombardo was making breakfast when he heard a loud crash in the living room. The coffee table had turned over by itself, and by that was the end of it. After a month of chaos, everything returned to normal. In August, 2 parapsychologists gave their report and decided that the Lombardos had not made up the story, nor imagined it. Their trouble had been real, but what caused it? They said no pranks or tricks were involved, nor was any magic. As the police had done, they also ruled out vibrations underground, water, and other physical cases. The others explained they could not rule out what was the possibility that the teenage poltergeist had been at work, moving objects with mental power. They did not have enough evidence to prove it, but it was the only answer they had. If it was a poltergeist, they thought it was Tom. If they were right, if a normal boy like Tom had become a poltergeist, that also might happen to other teenagers. It might also happen to you. The end.